Hello everyone, my name is Matthew. I also go by CD20, and today I'm going to be doing a full breakdown of a recent track I made, which I will be dropping in the next week or so. I wanted to do this to show the world how I arrange tracks, how I sound design, how I make decisions throughout the creative process, and I kind of just want to document what I've created and how I feel about it. And I think it's good for me to kind of journal about my music making process so I can kind of talk about it out loud and articulate how I got to a certain place, how I got to make music, really, in general. So I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. I will answer them. I read them all. I get like no comments on any videos, so prove me wrong. I hope you guys like it. Thank you. Yeah. Cut. All right, here we are in the box, and I'll just start off by playing a little section of maybe two sections of the track. So this is kind of the first full. I'll just start right here. You can listen. And then it kind of breaks off into there. Then we have a second section. I just added a couple more sounds. Some claps, cowbells, things like that. But we'll talk about all of that in a second. First, I want to start off with this right here, the break chops. This is MIDI information, obviously. But this was actually originally a drum loop from a record from Loungin' Records. I went to Platinum Records in Portland and picked this record up for $6 and found some good drums on it. And then I chopped it up. I sliced it to MIDI, chopped it up, and kind of mixed around some things here. I think I used a few, I don't know if I used a slice shuffler, kind of just shuffled things around, but I kind of transformed it into a different sound completely. I'll turn off all this stuff actually, so you can kind of hear what it sounded like originally. Oh. So that's pretty much a mixture, a chop up of the original drum break. But then I added this EQ, which pretty much takes a lot out of it. This is what you hear in the song. Very, very subtle. And then I added an LFO, which is modulating the frequency right here. So you can kind of hear it going into the higher frequencies and lower frequencies pretty slowly. It's a pretty slow LFO here. And then I added a saturator, glue compressor, because before the saturator, it kind of sounds, it's very quiet. I don't know what dB that's at. That's, yeah, very low. And so I added a saturator, which with a good amount of drive here. And then I added a compressor, very simple compressor. And then I added a small delay, very, very tiny. I made the time 1, feedback low, dry wet very low, ping ponged it around. And then I also added a phaser, give it a little bit of character, and then an auto filter, which is for arrangement purposes. fading in and out. So that's where we started. That's where a majority of my tracks start, is a sample or an idea, a sound that gets me inspired, and then I kind of roll from there. Give myself really no expectations of what I'm making. I had no idea what I was going to make with when I first started this. And so usually a vinyl record, or literally it could be a YouTube sample, anything that would get kind of sparks some inspiration. Moving on kind of to the second thing I did was these click perks, which I named them, which is the same exact sample as the breaks. I just added a bunch of effects on it, which I don't believe I have. I resampled it, so I don't have the actual process of me doing this, but it is the same sample as the break that I got from the Loungin' Records record. So I put a lot of effects on it before, but if you can hear now, this is kind of originally what it sounded like. I EQ'd it. I put a high pass filter on it, added some reverb, some delay. I unsynced the delay so it would kind of bounce around, and it's a little bit higher dry wet, and then auto filter for arrangement purposes. So that's kind of the final sound right there. And I combined it with the same exact sample. I do this a lot where I resample sounds over and over again until kind of just to advance the sound, because this itself is good, but I wanted to make it a little bit more interesting. And so I have this, so I pretty much MIDI sliced this audio into I chopped it up again and shuffled it. So it's the same sample, just mixed up a little bit. And I put a lot of effects on this, I believe. I kind of put a lowish pass filter on this. And then I added spectral time. So I'll take this off. I added a lot of fucking shit on this. Sorry for my cursing. I don't really actually give a fuck. Oh, shit. I realize now I'm doing this. I'm like, this is going to be a long video if I'm going this deep. But hey, I'm here for it. Leave a comment if you made it this far. So yeah, originally this is what it sounds like, which actually sounds pretty cool. Very subtle. I took out the highs because I had highs in this clicky perk right here, and I kind of wanted to combine the low and the high of the different sound and the different pattern. So I have that. And then I added spectral time, which I kind of found this tip on TikTok. Shout out to TikTok producers. I forgot his name, but I'll throw it in there on the screen. But I put down the shift. I threw up, I don't even remember what the default settings is for this, but pretty much how I got here is if you use the tilt knob here, I'll turn the utility up so you can actually hear it. This tilt knob effects makes it almost a lasery sound the higher you turn it up, which is cool. So that's all the way up. And then you can go the other way. So I have it kind of in the middle right here. I don't know too much how the spectral time works. I'm pretty sure it just delays frequencies. So based on tilt, it will delay the high frequencies compared to the low frequencies. So it kind of makes that laser sound back and forth. I could be totally wrong, but that's my basic understanding about it. Anyway, added a utility here just to add some gain because it was quiet AF. Auto filter here, again, I'm pretty sure for arrangement purposes. As you can see, I have a lot of automation with auto filters, with filters, volume, stuff like that. But that's just for arrangement purposes to go in and out, transition, things of that nature. And then I have a grain delay here, which I have no fucking clue. I think I just put some random things. Yeah. Oh, actually, this was for a little bit of arrangement here, I believe. Maybe not. Yeah, there's a little bit of pop there. I don't know if you could hear that, but where is this actually? Okay, there we go. Yeah. So it kind of just explodes right at the beginning of the phrase here. It builds up right here. As you can hear, it gets super texturally, which is cool. I love texture. And then I added a delay, pretty much simple delay, another delay. Also automated the dry and wet for specific parts, which I don't know where. Again, transitional stuff. It's not, the delay is not on the whole time, just kind of in between those bars and those phrases. Anyway, so we got that's pretty much where the basis of, that was all from a record sample. And then I went on, I usually go to the percussion. So I started with the kicks. I think this was just a basic kick I found. Maybe I already had sampled, but I used the Digitact to come up with the pattern. And then I honestly chopped it up a little bit. Here's the main. It's two different kicks, very basic. It doesn't change much. I believe this second kick right here, very quiet, but it gives a little bit of that bounce, that rhythm within the main kick. And I'm pretty sure that is just the same exact kick, but I added a little bit of attack, or took away some attack, right? No. Why am I tripping? Anyway, yeah, raise the attack. So that's pretty much the rhythm right there. Pretty much that. And then the bass, that's what that sounds like. Sorry, first time doing this. This is fun though. This is fun breaking this down. Yeah. This bass, if you just want to hear it soloed, very kind of interesting bass. And this came from the modular setup, and I believe it was Platts going into Data Bender, which is, Data Bender is pretty much just kind of a distortion effect pedal. It emulates CD glitches, vinyl crackle, CD glitches based on, I don't know. It's just a distortion thing. And I added that. So that kind of gave a lot of that timbre, as you can see. That was just one note before, but since I put it through the Data Bender, it kind of glitched it around and made it kind of spew out a couple of notes almost on the same scale. But I thought I kind of chopped it up. This was originally kind of a splurge of random notes, and as you can see, I added a lot of envelopes here, fading in, fading out, because it was pretty clicky. The Data Bender is pretty clicky, pretty distorty, so it kind of sounded, it overtook the whole song a little bit, so I wanted to make it more subtle. And that with the kick, sounds pretty good, I must say. In the second phrase, I added bongos, which was very simple, I believe. I just typed in bongo in Ableton search, dragged a bunch into a drum rack, EQ'd, saturated, compressed, added a tiny bit of delay right here. Actually, the delay is for arrangement purposes again. And I just literally drew it in the piano roll right here. I also added a bit of chance as well for some of these off beat bongos. 61% chance they will hit. And these main ones right here will always hit to keep the rhythm. So 61% is still quite a bit, but it gives a little bit of variety when you need it. And then I also have snare here, snare and clap, same thing. Literally the same exact thing, I think. Yeah. Drum rack. I dragged a bunch of claps, added a little bit of EQ. Actually took a lot out for the EQ. This is what it sounds like. Without the EQ, it's pretty loud. So I just took a lot out, and then I added a doubler right here. So without it, and then with it. Just a little bit more character, add a little bit more stereo depth. And then cowbell. Oh, who doesn't love a good cowbell? This is actually from the RD8 Behringer TR-808 clone. TR-8 clone, whatever the fuck. Simple cowbell. I put it a little bit off, actually, kind of right here, not at the very beginning. And I put it through the, what is that? The Desmodus Versio, which is a module that is delay / reverb kind of effects mirror type of thing. And you can really hear it in this cowbell. A lot of stereo goodness. I'm pretty sure I modulated the size of the delay, and I think that's what gave it this little glitchy. You hear little sparkles and effects. I don't fucking know. My vocabulary for this is not as great as I would like it to be, but this is why I'm doing this. So, kicks, bass, bongos, snares, cowbells, break, clicky perks. Now we get into the big meat of the pie. The big fucking meat of the pie is the main sound, the synth sample. I put a lot of effects through this, so I will take out all the effects and we can break this down one by one. I have a lot of effects on this. So this sample was actually, I have it here in my kits. This was, I believe, this was a Roland SH-101 sample. I believe it was a loop, but I took it in the Digitac, chopped it up, and then added some frequency modulation, so it kind of had a little bit of movement, as you can kind of hear. Almost acidy. I hit it with the EQ. It's pretty harsh before. Just took out some frequencies there. Then I added a delay. A lot of feedback there, actually. So it's pretty... before this, actually, I mentioned I did chop this up a lot, which is what I do a lot with samples. Sometimes you think you have something, you have a good sample, you bring it in, and it just does not fit. And that's why I love Ableton so much, because it's very easy to chop samples. I used to be on FL Studio, and it was more difficult to, personally for me, to chop up samples on the arrangement view, which I like to do. So that's why I like Ableton a lot. So added some delay, and then I added a spectral resonator. I've fallen in love with this effect because it gives it just an alien sounding. I mean, it sounds beautiful. I think I was toying around with this a lot. The defaults is completely different, but I put it on chorus mode. I put the unison to 2, the dry wet to 66, the decay up to 507 milliseconds, and then I also tuned the frequency to the right note. I think the note's A. So I think that's the same note as the bass, the kick, something like that. So really without it, it's very dry, and with this on 66% wet, it adds a little bit of dynamics, a little bit of spectral resonation, and that's what makes the whole sound sounds really good. I EQ'd some more things out because I think the spectral resonator added some frequencies I did not like. And then I added another reverb. Oh no, I didn't have a reverb before. Yeah. Added a reverb here. Nothing too crazy, I don't think. Dry wet 57. Size is decent size. Decay isn't crazy. Just a little bit of juice on there. And then we have the glue compressor. Very basic. I think I sidechained the kick on it, I believe. Limiter, this shit was peaking. Yeah, I think it was just peaking on frequencies I didn't like. I don't know. Some of these are just spur of the moment. Like if it sounded good in the moment, I added it. Sometimes I have no explanation for it. Auto filter for arrangement purposes, I assume. Yes. Another example of my automation throughout I think this is during the end. The intro, I have it a lot. Just to kind of give it more. We'll play it at the beginning. You can hear with the auto filter being modulated. It gives it a lot more character. It builds up to where the actual meat of the potatoes are. Because this sound alone gets boring, I think. So the modulation helps a lot with keeping it spicy, saving it for the good parts. You guys know. Reverb, added another reverb. What like why? But I guess arrangement purposes. It seems we have more arrangement purposes. So at the beginning, a lot more reverb, trying to just blend it all together, and then when the big guns come in with kick, bass, all that, I take away the reverb, at least the end of the reverb, to make it pop. And then I added an echo. Here we go again, guys. Automation is the key. You guys can see the automation here. Take it away during the thing. I just said it. So a lot of automation, a lot of different. Automation is good. That's the one tip if I would tell my past producer mind, one tip for making better tracks would be automation, modulation, pretty much the same thing, but it spices it up. It keeps it fresh. It might not be noticeable to a person who's just listening, but it makes it so subconsciously they don't get bored. It doesn't feel too repetitive. It's good to change things up. It's good to switch it up. And then I have multiple instances of this synth sample. I think I pitched this up. Yeah. Pitched this up so together gives it a little bit more boost. I only have this at the end, the last little big phrase here. And then in the break, I have this, which is this doing anything here? Very subtly. There we go. Just a small buildup, I believe. Very simple. Next we have a water zap. This is a sample. If you look over here, my big mixture of modular samples that are completely labeled horribly. I just sometimes, if I'm looking for some quick inspiration, always save your samples, save your slop that you create, that you sound design, and save it for later because you might need it in an instance like this, which sounds pretty cool. Sounds pretty cool, I must say. Something you can't really explain. I mean, what is that? A little bit of water drop, a little bit of sound almost. It sounds like a wave underwater. Just to spice things up there. And then I also have some glitch data. This is also another data bender instance of creation, sound design. And it's off for some reason. Don't know why it's off. You can barely hear it here. I think it, yeah. You guys can hear that, right? Very subtle, very, very subtle. EQ'd, auto panned, added some echo. Pretty basic, nothing crazy. The thing I like about having hardware at my disposal is I can process a lot of the sounds through the hardware already. So I don't have much plug-in work to do, just some EQ, EQ adjustments, some auto pans to make it more stereo, basic things that, it's cherry on top for the sound, but the sound is already created. I put my own envelopes, I put my own sequence of events through this sound. So that's why I like hardware a lot, and I can just record it straight in and add a tiny bit of effects. Next, we just have a simple, very, very simple reverse hat with a delay. Very, very simple, just for some transition stuff. And this is what I added last, second to last actually. But this I think was another sample from a record. I cannot remember for the life of me what the sample was. I want to say it was an Enya record. I could be very wrong, but it could be an Enya record. So shout out to Enya. But I really only used it for this drop right here, as you can see. And then I kind of fade it out once it's through all that, and then it kind of comes back in the end. Oh, little track breakdown with some auto filter modulation again. Very simple. And this, I believe I put this vocal through the Versio again, the module. Add reverb, modulate it. Simple stuff, but very effective, very effective. Usually when I don't have, because before I added this vocal, I had this whole track already and it needed something else, but I didn't want to add something that was too overbearing and something that would take away from the original groove, the original sound. So again, I just go to the record. The record bin has everything for you. Recycling sounds is something I am very, very into. I speak for all samplers out there. It's very very good for getting the ball rolling or completing a project, you know, adding a little bit of something at the end, you know, something. And then at the very end, I added some field recording, winter forest ambiance. It's very automated here, I believe, yeah. So I kind of just slowly faded into the end. Just a little calm nature outro. Birds are actually going crazy in that one, I'm not gonna lie. And then I faded out, and that's the song. That is the song, folks. So thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you learned something. I kind of went through it fast, I think, in my eyes. I'm trying to still get my vocabulary up to be able to communicate how I feel about, you know, the process of making a track, how I think of sounds, how I come up with ideas. Because, you know, when I'm creating them, I don't really make decisions. I'm not like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? I just do something. I dive in. And then if it doesn't work, I throw it out and I dive in again to another pool, if that makes sense. I'm not really consciously thinking about where I'm going until I structurally get something that I enjoy. And then it's like just peppering in some things to build the idea I already have up into something. And the best feeling that I have is when I have that skeleton of a track and I know it's something, and then that motivates me to arrange, because arranging a track is sometimes literally the worst thing. I hate arranging tracks, but when you have something that you enjoy, when you have something that you're excited about, it's very easy, I think, to arrange, put together, export, mix, master, and that's where I'm at here. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a comment and stay tuned for this track. I'll probably drop the video when the track is already released. So check the link in the description, subscribe, like, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.